Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you happen to be around the world, and welcome to another Agency Success live stream from hosting.com. My name is Nathan Ingram. I am the agency trainer here with Agency Success, and so glad that you've taken time to join us for this very important topic, which is all about getting new clients for your work. We've called today's talk the referral engine because it really is all about getting excellent referrals for great clients. And so we'll unpack that over the next hour. If you're just joining us in Zoom, welcome. Jump in the chat and say hello. I'm going to drop in one more time the link for today's slide deck. You'll find that waiting on you in the live stream chat. And let's get started. So I had a pre-show question for the folks who were here a bit early, just asking on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your ability to get new clients right now? 1 being it's very difficult, 10 being it's very easy. And the answers were all across the spectrum, but most were on the lower end. And I'll tell you, it is a common challenge for us who do web work to get clients. It's just one of the things that we all struggle with. Particularly if you are a solopreneur or a micro agency, a person working as a team of 1 or as a team of just a few. It's a common challenge that folks working in this type of business have at getting great clients on a consistent basis. And so what we're going to talk about today is this shared challenge. I've been coaching solopreneurs and micro agency owners for over 10 years now, and this is something that always comes up of, how do I get new clients in my business? And there are common challenges that we all face. And so when you think about this challenge of marketing yourself, I love this little graphic here. Does this resonate with you? Does this kind of feel how it is sometimes to step out and to meet new people and get new clients? And it can be very difficult. And some of the things that we all face when we get ready to market ourselves is fear. Fear gets in the way, or doubt. Can I really do what's needed to satisfy this client? Or how do I find the time to market myself when I'm just trying to do a bunch of work? Or how do I even begin to find new clients that are a good fit for me and my agency? So how to market ourselves, how to find the right client for the work that I'm doing is a common struggle. So if this is something that you constantly run into, you are in good company, because most folks who operate at a solo or micro level, this is a very difficult challenge. And quite frankly, even large agencies today are struggling with this, particularly in the chaotic environment that the world is in right now. A lot of financial worries and things like that. I just had a call in the last week with a medium-sized agency that's struggling with this very question. So you are definitely not alone. And hopefully today, you can start to see a few things you could do to sharpen your game at getting new clients, the right kind of clients for the work that you're doing. So over the next 45 minutes or so, these are the things we're going to be talking about. This challenge of getting clients, and we're going to really get into that and see what's behind it. Second, what does the traditional digital marketing approach look like, and how does that fit with what we do as solo or micro agency owners? Then we're going to unpack the power of the referral and how that could be the answer to getting the right kind of client. And finally, I'm going to really dig into what I call intentional referrals and how that can really help to change the way that you market yourself. So that's where we're heading. And let's start with this very common issue of getting clients. How do I find the right client to work with? So there's a great book. If you've never read this book, I highly recommend it. It's called Design as a Job by Mike Monteiro. And in this book, he has lots of quotables, but this is one of the best. Not getting clients is the #1 reason that freelancers fail. The #2 reason, who cares? It doesn't matter. If you can't get clients, you can't be in business. And so there's a lot of wisdom in that book, but this is a nugget that captures our big struggle. We fail if we don't get clients. So really, this is the most important thing we can talk about. So what is it that to you makes a good client? Let me hear from you in the chat. What are some characteristics that make a client good to work with? Just drop them right there in the chat. What are some characteristics that make a client really good to work with? Ben says a good listener. Stephanie says they are organized. What else? What do you think? What makes a good client? Michelle says they're open to ideas. Yeah. Phoebe says they have realistic expectations. Sherry says they're easy to work with, pay right away. They provide the content, they understand the process. Ben agrees and says that they pay their bills on time. Chris says they're a clear communicator. Another vote for pay promptly from class. SZ says they trust your expertise. Jeffrey says they learn quickly. Class says they don't change their mind every day. Melanie says they respect your expertise. Yeah, so all these are incredibly good descriptors of great clients. And those are the kinds of adjectives that I think we all want in our client, that they're easy to work with. They know what they want. They respect you as a professional. They have a realistic budget. Now, it may be that in your experience working with clients, you've never had a client that's like this. Or maybe they check one of these boxes, but not all of them. And you might hear other people talking about these clients, and you might think, well, these kinds of clients are unicorns. Everybody talks about them, but they really don't exist. So it's likely that many of you today have heard about these wonderful clients that respect your expertise and they pay well, they have a healthy budget, but you may have never really experienced one. And my advice to you is just stay at it, because here's how it usually happens. And those of you who have been up the road a bit in your business and you've got some great clients, see if this isn't a similar story. I hear this all the time. Early on, people who are starting to work with clients get a bunch of bad clients. It's because we're eager to take the work and we'll settle for some of the complicated things that clients will do to us without pushing back very hard. And we get beat up in that process. And then finally, one day, there's this great client who actually likes you and you like them and you like what you're doing for them and they respect you and they pay well. You find that great client, and that great client starts to open the door and more great clients come in. Now, just briefly there in the chat, how many of you can resonate with that experience? Like that's kind of how it happened to you. You had a string of bad clients when you started out. And then one day, this great client, maybe that unicorn that you've always heard about, came walking through the door and you met them. And it has led to a series of additional great clients. It's a common story, because once you experience a really great client, you become much more aware of the bad ones, and you can even start to weed them out ahead of time and more quickly. You start being able to identify the good ones easier. Now, let's talk about next the conventional wisdom of how to identify these unicorn clients and find great clients in a traditional digital marketing framework. Now, you're probably familiar with this framework. You cast a wide net. You start with great SEO on your website. Maybe you do some paid ads on search engines or on social media. And you blog and you talk about what you do and you make social media posts and you build that lead magnet, the 5 ways to do the great whatever that people sign up for. And then you get them on your email list and you market. This is traditional digital marketing, because it goes to what traditional digital marketing experts call the customer development cycle. So they have to be aware of you, first of all, and then they have to like you. So that awareness, as you're talking more to them, builds affinity. And as you talk more and more to them through your blog posts and lead magnets and all the other things you're producing, that begins to help them trust you a little more. And then eventually, one day, maybe they purchase from you. So it's all about content and follow-up and answering questions and nurture. And maybe one day they buy from you. I got to be honest with you. I get tired just looking at this. Does anybody else feel that way? This whole customer development cycle of making people aware of you and building affinity and trust and purchase. I mean, especially as a solopreneur, this is absolutely exhausting. Because the other thing that happens here, when you cast this wide net in a traditional digital marketing framework, you catch a bunch of fish, but most of them are the wrong fish. Like, and then you have to weed out the bad fish. You have to weed out the tire kickers and the bad clients. And it's just more and more time and effort and energy. And by the time you get around to doing the work, it is exhausting. It's just really hard. Now, if that's you and you resonate with this, let me assure you that the traditional digital marketing approach does not work for a solo or micro agency. There's just not enough time and resources. There's just not. A traditional marketing framework works really well if you've got a dedicated sales team and account managers and then people behind the scenes that are actually doing the work. But when you wear all of those hats, it just doesn't work. There's not enough time and energy to do all of the things. And the other thing is, if when you're operating as a solo micro agency, you're likely doing a lot of the work and hopefully you're doing great work and you enjoy that tech work. But good technicians are rarely good at selling. Now, you may be one of the rare ones who can be both a great technician doing the work and also a great salesperson. But usually, like if that's not you, don't worry, because that's not normal. So this traditional digital marketing approach usually does not work for a solo or micro agency. And I'll tell you, I've built my business without it, and I think you can too. So we need a different approach than this traditional customer development cycle of awareness, affinity, trust, purchase that just makes me tired looking at it. We need to get rid of that and replace it with something else, something where they come to us with awareness, affinity, and trust, and it leads quickly to the purchase. Now, that process is a referral. It short circuits the process from awareness to purchase. When someone comes to you, referred by someone they trust, you inherit that trust, you inherit some affinity, and they're ready to do the thing that you want to do. They're ready to purchase. So let's talk about the power of referrals. So referrals are key to everything I do as an agency. Still, probably a half to a little bit more of my time is spent doing client work. I enjoy it. We've got great clients that we serve. And I've been doing it now for 30 years. I started doing web work with clients way back in 1995. And never once in all of those years have I ever paid for any kind of advertising. All of my work always has and still does today. All of my work comes by referral. My biggest and best projects have come without competing against anyone at all. Everything comes by referral. And it's not just me. Now, I'm looking at the participant list, and I see many of you who I know are participants in a wonderful Facebook group called the Admin Bar. It's a group of about 10,000 people that run small agencies. And it's a great in the Facebook group, and it's just talking about all the different things. But my friend Kyle that runs the Admin Bar does this annual WordPress agency survey. And I want you to see how this thing of referrals always pops up in the questions that he asks. So going back to 2023, which was, I think, the first year that he did this survey, he just asked point blank, where do the majority of your leads come from? And look at this, referral, 73.5%. I know that's small. It's small on your screen. Sorry about that. Networking, 11.3%. If you combine both of those two things, that's like 85% of people said that their leads, the majority of their leads come from personal relationships, referrals, networking, this thing that we're talking about today. Also ask in that same year, how many of you put consistent effort in outbound marketing, the traditional digital marketing approach? 87% said no. So if you're not doing it either, you're in good company. This is where most people are that operate at a solo micro agency level. Now flip the page to 2024. Where do the majority of your leads come from? In the results, 71% referrals, networking, 15%. So you put those together, 86.48%, almost 87% of leads are coming from referrals. It works. This year, a little different question. What marketing activities did you pursue last year? Right here at the top, in-person networking, asking for referrals, online networking. Whoop. I don't have the numbers in there. We'll just add all these up. In 57% of people put their efforts into in-person networking, half ask for referrals, almost half online networking. So this relationship building that leads to referrals is still the number one activity. When you get down to more traditional marketing approaches like SEO, blogging, social media, email marketing, cold outreach, the numbers are much, much smaller. So all of my work comes by referral, and I'm okay with that. I used to have this thing like, oh, I just get all my work by referral, and it made me feel less than people who had a big agency that does lots of content marketing and whatever. And years ago, I just became okay with that. Like it's okay that most of my work comes by referral. Matter of fact, I like it that way. I get much better clients. These days, even it's a red flag if someone reaches out to me, hey, we found you on Google. Great, let's talk. But I want to make sure, because a lot of times if a client comes to me without a connection, they tend to be looking for the lowest price or that third bid that they need in order to have three bids for their evaluation process when they really already have decided who they want. It's oftentimes a red flag if someone comes to me cold without any sort of referral at all. So again, it's not a deal breaker. It's just a red flag. So referrals work, folks. Let's look at the numbers. Now, here's a bunch of statistics. Nielsen, the ratings company, says that 92% of people trust recommendations from people they know over all other forms of advertising. That's pretty huge. Forrester Research Group says that 84% of business-to-business sales begin with a referral. Now, you have a good product and the price has to match and so forth, but 84% of B2B sales begin with a referral. It's amazing. Another stat from Nielsen, people are 4 times more likely to buy from you when they're referred by someone. That's pretty amazing. How about this one? People who come by referral have a 37% higher retention rate as a customer, referred versus non-referred. That's pretty significant. Now, there's a million statistics, right? This is my favorite one, that 82.7% of statistics on the internet are totally made up, says Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States. These statistics, right? Like the thing is this, referrals are just better. They just are. You don't even need those statistics to tell you this. It's human nature. If you move into a new area, or if you need to find a new doctor or a new mechanic or something like that, how are you going to find those people? You ask a friend, right? You look at reviews, but a lot of times we ask our friends who we've met, who do you use for a doctor? Who do you use for a mechanic? Who do you use if you got to have somebody to do some work on your house? Human nature tells us that referrals are better. And the reason that they work is that good people refer good people to good people. This is why you tend to get better clients. People that you know, that you have a relationship with, that you're friends with, they're not going to refer bad people to you, usually. Or if they do, they go, hey, look, I got a buddy that needs a website and he's kind of a problem, but I'm going to give him your name, right? You kind of get a heads up if it's a bad person or a difficult person to work with. But in general, good people refer good people to good people. It's human nature. Now, here's the problem with referrals. Another statistic. 83% of satisfied customers are willing to refer you. This comes from a study done at Texas Tech University, commissioned by Charles Schwab Advisor Services. Now, if you know anything about financial advisors, they live and die by referrals. Like their business is all about referrals. Friends and family referring, I need somebody that I can trust to help me take care of my money and so forth. They live and die by referrals. So they commissioned an academic study at the university level to get into the nitty gritty of how the psychology of referrals works. And in this study, the people at Texas Tech said 83% of satisfied customers are willing to refer you, but only 29% actually do. Now, think about that for a minute. 83% will, but only 29% do. Why? What's the difference? Like, why do only a third of people actually make referrals when 83% are willing? And the answer that the survey or that the study brought back was that 82% of people say they have never been asked to give a referral. Now, that might seem weird because again, especially for financial advisors, because if you know a financial advisor, they're constantly asking for referrals, but they have never been asked, or, and I added this part, or maybe at least they weren't asked in a way that connected with them, or a way that made them want to give a referral, or gave them the ammunition of to find, or the clarity to find the right kind of people to refer. But either way, asking was the delta between 83% will, 29% do. So this whole thing right here, this gap in the middle, is what I call hopeful referrals, which is doing great work and then hoping that people are going to refer you. And by the way, if you ever read anything online about somebody downing referral marketing and it doesn't work and whatever, two things. Number one, they're probably trying to sell you content marketing. Number two, they're talking about the last slide, the 83-29 in that gap. Right. Hopeful referrals don't work. If you're just doing great work and hoping that people are going to refer you, that's not a strategy, and it doesn't work, and it does fall off, which is why what we're going to focus on as the takeaway from this live stream is what I call intentional referrals. Intentional referrals are very, very different. So what I'm talking about here with intentional referrals is strategically cultivating a network of people who will refer you, being intentional about it, scheduling time to do it in your calendar, creating a system for how you're going to find and ask for referrals, and not simply leaving it to chance. Because most of us, if we're honest, we're doing hopeful referrals and not intentional referrals. There is a strategy that can be built to cultivate a referral network. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of this. Now, the good news about intentional referrals is that it does a great job at shortcutting that journey from awareness to purchase that we talked about, the customer development cycle. Intentional referrals, when you're out there finding people that will refer business to you, that process, the whole goal of a referral it short circuits that process because you're positioned out of the gate as the expert. Oh, you need a website? You should go talk to Nathan, or you should go talk to whatever, this person. They do great. They did my website. I've known them for years, whatever. It short circuits that process to trust and purchase because you're inheriting credibility from the person who referred you. Now, don't forget that little bit. That's the mechanism behind referrals. That's why referrals shortcut that customer development process. You are inheriting credibility from the person who refers you. And as a result of this, usually you get higher quality clients because good people refer good people to good people. And what that lets you do is spend time working, doing the thing you love, instead of going out there and having to sell, which is probably not something you enjoy, I'm guessing. And what it also lets us do is move into a realm of sales that's not arm twisting. It's called consultative sales, which basically means we get to sell by helping. And technicians tend to be better at this. We're not trying to convince the person they need some solution. We're just trying to help them solve their problem. And so we can be helpful and consultative because this person has been referred. They're looking for a solution that we offer, and we can help them step through the decision-making process as a consultant, not as a typical salesperson. it's easier for us to do. Now, all those things are great, and they make the referral process a really powerful tool for us. But there's another side to this. Doesn't happen quickly. It takes time to cultivate a referral network. If you need to boost sales this month, referral marketing is probably not going to do it. Now, it might, but it's unlikely. It is unlikely that you'll be able to build a stream of referrals immediately. It does take time. The second downside of referrals is that workflow can be unpredictable because it's not like you've got a bunch of salespeople out there and they know that for every 30 people they talk to, 5 will commit and 2 of those will actually have a project for you. And so work is, you just have to go call more people, talk to more people, and you'll get a really good predictable workflow. That sounds great, but with referral marketing, it doesn't work that way. Some months you may get 0 projects. Other months you might get 7 or 8 or whatever. It's feast or famine with referrals. And that's just part of the deal if you're going to focus on referral marketing as your strategy. Now, the other thing about referrals that I've discovered is that it is much harder to do this after the pandemic. Now, we're 5 years on the other side of the pandemic, almost 5 years. And it's harder to find groups of people now to connect with and to be part of and to cultivate these referral sources. It's harder now than it used to be. Still can be done, but it's just harder. A lot of those social structures have not yet healed up, and they're not back the way they were before the pandemic. So good and bad, right? So for me, I've made a strategic decision in my business that I prefer the good of referrals over the bad. Like, weigh them out. I would rather deal with the downside of referrals in order to get the upside of better, higher paying clients that I don't have to twist their arm. It's just better. Okay, so how do you get started? You're sold, right? Want to do referrals. How do you do this? So a few steps. First thing you've got to focus on in building a strategy. This is going to be building a strategy to do this intentionally, right? So we have to strategically, intentionally expand our business network. And that means getting to know other freelancers, other business owners, and becoming a resource to them. So find people who are in adjacent specialties is usually the easiest way to do it. So find photographers, find people that do video, find people that do graphic design or SEO without building websites, or social media marketing without building websites, marketing professionals that don't build websites in-house. There's tons of these people out there. Paul just mentioned in the chat, printers, people who are doing print media. I had a printer that was a phenomenal resource for me sending clients for many years. So these people who are in adjacent specialties who are already talking to your ideal client. Got to identify those folks. And if you stop just for a few minutes and you were to make a list, maybe you could find 4 or 5 of those just right off the top of your head. If not, we have to be intentional about looking for those. Something I do to do that, I'm just always looking for other people who are in business in any conversation that I'm in, a coffee shop, just meeting people here and there or wherever I happen to be. I'm always interested in people who are in business because we share the same struggles. It doesn't matter if they have a lawn care business or if they're a home builder or if they're whatever. We all share the same core challenges as business owners. I'm always just curious. Be curious. That's the best tool you can have in your arsenal as you're trying to build this referral network. Just be curious about what people do and how they operate and, what it's like for them. And you may find that in the course of that conversation, you can be helpful. Be curious and be helpful. Schedule a coffee meeting with them if they have time. Talk shop. We tend to have the same challenges in common. It will not be a hard conversation. So you can be a resource to them. Look at their website, make suggestions, find out the kinds of ideal client they're looking for, and work to be a referral source for them. You want to be, at the end of the day, a person that it's good to know. Like, it's good to know you. You are a good, kind, helpful person. You try to build a network of people who are like that. Now, as you've got a few people who are all doing business, it's interesting to connect the members of your network with each other. When you get to know several other people in business, take the lead and ask a few of them to go to lunch together. No big deal. Everybody pays for their own lunch. You got to eat, right? So just connect people. Be a person that helps to connect people. Be a person that it's good to know. So just get together and talk about business and life. And what that does is it builds affinity between people who might ought to know each other anyway. If you've got a great accountant that works in your business, bring them in, right? Like just be a person that's creating a network of other people who can be helpful to each other. And within that network, what you can do is start to build strategic partnerships. Now, the way this looks is like when you get to know another person in another field, in an adjacent specialty, you could consider taking that relationship further and building a strategic partnership. And it looks like, if you got a web referral, I get the first right of refusal. In other words, you're going to give it to me unless I say no. You might even set a referral fee for how much that, referral could be worth, that sort of thing. We'll talk about more of this later, but this is as you begin to expand your business network and bring people in, this is the way it ought to look. Now, by the way, there are organizations out there that kind of do this for you, like BNI and others. And that might be a good resource for you. It all really honestly depends on the group and whether or not you fit in with the other personalities there. But there are structured resources out like that out there. But our goal is we just want to know a bunch of people. We want to be helpful. And even if you are the most introverted introvert in the world, one of the ways to kind of get past some of that challenge is being helpful. Be curious and be helpful. Those are my two biggest pieces of advice. Whether you're an extrovert, introvert, or right in the middle, kind of like I am, you can be helpful to people. Be kind, be helpful, be curious, just ask questions. And you'll find that you can start to build these links between people. This network that you create is an incredibly valuable commodity. When you have a network of people in all these different specialties, it's a huge asset when you talk to a client. Like, you are a person it's good to know. And so maybe this client is a small business owner. Maybe they need a great accountant or a great lawyer. And you've got those, those people. Or maybe they need a brochure design for their business. Hey, I've got this graphic designer over here. Whatever it is, that network is valuable because if this new potential client decides to hire you, they're also getting access to your whole network of trusted professionals that you've spent time and you've strategically built relationships with. By the way, that's all a big agency is. It's just a bunch of people in adjacent specialties all under the same roof, and they charge an overhead to keep everybody together, right? So what you can also do in the process of building this business network, you're essentially creating a non-agency agency without the overhead. And the people in the various skill sets that and you can build a network with, these people are generally better at what they do than the people in the agencies anyway, because these folks have to stand on their own 2 feet. They got to go hunt something and bring it home and, to eat it every night. They've got to do great work and stand on their own. So it's an incredibly valuable commodity. It's a quasi agency like this. It's very valuable. Okay, so expand your business network. Just get to know people in adjacent skill sets that can, they're maybe in front of your ideal client already. Now, from this group of people, you cultivate influencers, and you ask the question, what kind of person is already in front of my target market? And by the way, before you can answer that question, you got to know who your target market is. Like, can you define your target market? Who is your ideal client? Okay. So in those people, where do those people gather? Who's already in front of them talking to them? Who do they already trust? So I spend a lot of time cultivating these influencers and building relationships with people who refer me to the kinds of clients that I want. So a few examples of these influencers that I've developed over the years are, for many years, I had a very good friend who did marketing in the little cities around. I live in a suburb of Birmingham, Alabama, and in the suburban cities of Birmingham, he worked with city councils and mayors and things like that to do marketing for these little cities. And he'd help to produce the little local publication, the pictures of all the little magazines that go around and end up in everybody's mailbox where there's local ads of all the businesses. And, here's the pictures of the T-ball team and all these sorts of things. And so my friend, as a result of that work, was selling ads in every single local business in the city that I lived in, the small town. And he's in front of those people at least once a quarter. And so as in the process of selling those ads, he would always look at their websites and go, you really need some website help. And you should really talk to my friend Nathan. And he would talk about, what we do and how much it typically costs and that sort of thing. And when he would supply a referral to me, there was a set commission that I would pay him back. I have another friend that for many years did marketing for attorneys and other professionals. And he was a total marketing guy, did not do web, did not do social media. He was just a branding and marketing guy. And so he would always bring me and my agency in as the web professional whenever he had clients. And so we still to this day have some clients that came from that work many years ago. I have another friend that's a photographer and a social media manager. And she builds Squarespace websites for basic things. But if there's anything more complicated that comes up, she'll often send that referral to me. If it's a more detailed website that's outside of what she wants to do in Squarespace. Great. We're happy to do that. I mentioned earlier, there's a local print shop, and this is the kind of print shop, they do lots of brochures and things like that, but it's the print shop and their focus is on white glove service. They're a little more expensive than the rest, but it was the kind of place you just go and they just make it happen. They handle everything, white glove service, high quality. Those are the same kinds of clients that I want. And so we set up a strategic partnership where if I had a client that needed print, I would send them to them. And if they had a client needing web, they'd send them to me. And it worked out beautifully. So those are the types of influencers that I'm talking about. And again, sit down and think about it a bit. You may discover that you have some of those people already, or maybe you've even sort of been doing it, but without a strategy or a system to manage these referrals. So we're going to build our network. We're going to cultivate these influencers, and then we're going to leverage our existing client relationships. Clients are a wonderful source of referrals, and we frequently never ask them to refer people to us. Existing clients are wonderful because they already like you. They're probably already the kind of client that you want again if you've kept them for a while. So the trick here is you incentivize the referral. So how often do you reach out to your current clients? How often do you talk to them? How often do you let them know, hey, we offer, we do all of our work by referral, just like so-and-so referred you to us. If there's anybody that that needs good quality web work and the same kind of service that you've experienced as we've served you, please give us a referral. And we always reward that referral with a nice gift on the other side. And we'll talk about how to do that in just a minute. But just don't forget your existing clients. They already like you. They're a great source for others that are like them, good people that they can refer to you. Now, once you have all these things in place, the next step is to structure this referral relationship. So I look at this kind of in two different categories, referral partners and strategic partners. So referral partners, these are unofficial, like they're not, just every now and then you might have a friend that refers business to you, or maybe it's a client that, one-off makes a referral to you. So it's not really an official structured referral relationship. So in those cases, I give a gift per referral. And you can do a lot of different things there, but just something that's memorable that says thank you. And so some of the things I've done with this are the number one thing I do is an Amazon gift card. $200 Amazon gift card, a little more if it's a bigger project, but just as a thank you. They send a referral. As soon as the person signs and sends us the check, I'm going to send a $200 Amazon gift card to the person that referred us. If it's a local client, hey, a gift card to a local business, local restaurant, that sort of thing. Or if you have a client that's a local restaurant, buy a gift card from them to give to another referral source, right? So, kind of keep it all going together. Just whatever it is, something memorable this client will appreciate. So those are the referral partners, kind of unofficial one-off sorts of referrals. Now, you may find in some of the situations I just described, for example, that it needs a more formalized relationship. Those are what I would call a strategic partner, where it's a more formal and exclusive type relationship. In other words, you do print, I do web. If you have a web client, send them to me unless I say no. If I have a print client, I send them to you unless you say no. So they're reciprocal referrals that may or may not involve a percentage or a set dollar amount. But you just do this, you kind of get it all out and decide it up front. It's a 10% referral fee or a $1,000 max fee, however you want to do it, percentage or a flat amount. But it's the difference is it's formalized and you're both on the same page about what you're going to do if one person refers business to the other. Now, you can also use some subtle reminders. So how many of you email your clients? Probably everybody, right? So start with your email signature. In my email signature, there's something like, do you know somebody that needs help online? We love an intro. Referrals are always rewarded, right? Just put it in your email subject line or something like, do you enjoy working with us? A referral is the highest compliment. We'll take great care of anyone that you send our way, right? So just put it in a subtle reminder in your email every time they see an email from you. It's right there reminding them. It could also be not so subtle reminders to your existing clients. Email your network, the people that you've met, your existing clients, other influencers and referral sources people that you've met, just relationships that you've developed. Email them and promote some sort of referral gift, like refer a new project before December 31st and we'll thank you with an Apple Watch or a iPad mini or something like that, right? Something tangible to get some excitement going. I've done this multiple times in the past. When the iPad mini first came out many years ago, I gave away 3 or 4 of those things to customers, existing clients that referred business to us. So we're just being intentional about it. See, we're not doing great work and hoping somebody will refer to us. We're being intentional. We're creating a system. We're building relationships intentionally and structuring how those relationships will work to send referrals that we're going to reward either with a gift or a set percentage. Those are intentional referrals. Now, let's talk about fine-tuning this process. The first part of fine-tuning is I mentioned it earlier, you've got to be clear on who your ideal client is. People won't know who to refer to you unless you help them understand that. Who do you want to work with? What is the problem that you solve that people need to solve? What is your price point? Because if you're not clear on your ideal client, how will people know who to refer to you? So it might look something like this. We work best with businesses that have a WordPress website and need web professional they can trust. And our projects start at blank, right? Our projects start at this much. This is really also important. If you've had a client for many years, if you've been in business a long time like I have, clients that came to me 20 years ago, and there are some that we still serve today, they paid a lot less for that website originally, right? And so we need to let them know where our price point is now. Otherwise, they're going to bring you referrals that, they want $1,000 website. I'm sorry, that was 15 years ago. We don't do that anymore. So we work best with these sorts of businesses, and this is our starting price point. A great resource to developing a good structure on how to explain yourself is Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand. It will help you communicate what you do in customer-centric language. I highly recommend this book. Okay, the second thing as you're fine-tuning this process is to thank your referrers immediately. The people who refer business to you, you want to thank them immediately. So as soon as the person they referred to you, schedules a call, or you've had that first intro call with the client, as soon as you get that lead, thank them. Hey, thanks for referring this person. By the way, do you have any advice on how we can serve them well? Just ask for some insight. You never know what little nugget that person might refer to you. And it might just be, I don't know, I go to church with them and they needed a website. Or it might be, I'm in this business group with this person and they can be a little difficult to work with, but I think you'll be able to help them, right? And so just getting a little nugget of extra insight is super helpful. And just do that in the context of thanking them immediately when that lead comes in. And then send the referral gift that you promised promptly. Don't wait until the end of the project. As soon as you get the deposit from the client, send the referral gift to the person that referred that business to you. Really, really important to not let that go. And number 4, which is labeled number 3, but it's actually number 4, be ready to explain the value of your network. Talk about it. Your network is valuable to your clients and to your other referral partners. So just be prepared to talk about this network of people that you've built that can be helpful to people who need a good solution. Okay. Let's move into the last bit here, and then we'll take questions. I see several questions have come up in the chat, and let me just ask, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but please use the Zoom Q&A for your questions. You can just mouse over the shared screen, and you'll see the Q&A icon. Click that and drop your questions in there, and I'll get to those as soon as we wrap up with the content here. So the final 4 things here, 4 keys to intentional referrals. These are just things that I've learned over the years from not doing referrals as well as I probably could. So 4 keys. The first of these keys is you got to do great work. You got to do great work. Know what you're doing and serve your clients well. Every single project matters. Referrals don't happen if your work isn't good. Like if somebody did a terrible job repairing my car, there's no way I'm sending people to that shop as a mechanic, right? Why would you? So this may just seem like a no-brainer, but it's something to keep right in the front. Do great work. Like every job we do matters. The quality matters. We want to make sure that we're serving all of our clients well, because we never know. That client may refer to us a huge project from one of their friends, 6 months from now. We just don't know. So we want to serve every client well to make sure that those referrals happen. The second key is this: be easy to work with. You got to be easy to work with. Refine your process in your workflow. Make things simple for your clients. Communicate. There are few things that can improve a client's experience in a project better than clear, consistent communication. Keep them in the loop. Don't just disappear. Communicate with your clients. Be easy to work with. Even if they ask you something that you can't do, offer an alternative that you might be able to do, right? Just be easy to work with, not difficult to work with. If there's friction, it's much less likely that these people are going to want to refer you later. Third of all, honor every referral. This is so important. Every referral you get, you've got to treat it like gold, because what someone has done, remember, referrals short circuit that customer development cycle because you inherit credibility from the person that referred you. They're putting their reputation on the line. So like if they referred you and you do a terrible job, or you're just a jerk, like you had a bad day or whatever, not only does it make you look bad, it makes the person who referred you look bad. Like, oh, you told me to go see that guy for that person for a website, and they did terrible work, or they were so hard to work with. It makes the referrer look bad. So treat every referral like gold. So, by the way, if there's a problem, like if you're having this first conversation with a client and you realize this is not going to be a good project for me, and that person was referred by someone else, I always go above board to try to connect them with somebody that actually can help them, because it was a referral. I want to be helpful. I want to honor the relationship I had with the person that referred them, so they'll continue to refer business, right? Honor every referral. Treat them like gold. All right, one more, and then we'll start to move toward questions. Now, this is the most important referral that I can give you. The best referral that I can give you is Mike Demo. When you get ready to upgrade your hosting to hosting.com, Mike is going to give you straightforward answers to find the right solution for you and your agency and your hosting situation. I'm a hosting.com customer by choice. I just paid to renew my server for 3 years with a virtual dedicated server. It's extremely fast, reliable hardware that's refreshed underneath everything, refresh the hardware on a regular cycle. Also, hosting.com now offers managed WordPress hosting from rocket.net. Rocket.net, part of the hosting.com family. So the best part about this referral is that if you're an agency and you come in, Mike is now your agency advocate going forward. So any problems come up, you can reach out directly to Mike. So if you're thinking about a hosting solution or just want to have a conversation to see if hosting.com's offers align with what you need in your agency, scan the QR code or just call him, or you can click the link in the slides to book a call, and Mike will schedule some time that works for both of you and talk through all your needs. Now, one last thing. Now, this is just something I've picked up over the years, and I definitely want to share it here as we're stopping. In micro agency marketing, if your marketing plan, whatever it is, feels like you're plotting behind the scenes instead of meeting people and being helpful, you're heading in the wrong direction. Like if your marketing plan for your agency is trying to dial in the keywords on your blog articles, there's nothing wrong with blogging, okay? But that's not going to give you the results of referrals. It's not going to give you great clients. It's not, the likelihood of the traditional marketing approach being successful is much lower than an intentional referral marketing. So stop plotting and start helping, because that's where the best clients come from. All right, that is the referral engine, and we have a bunch of questions stacked up here in the chat. So let me do my best to get to these. Again, if you have a question, just open up that Zoom Q&A and ask your question there, and we will get to it. Okay, first question from David. David says, do you use a CRM to keep track of intentional referrals? So I think a CRM is a wonderful idea if you have a large volume of referrals. The question is, do I use one? I do not, because, we're not doing 20 projects at a time. We do a handful of projects at a time. And so I don't need a full CRM to track those things. Do we have an email list? Yes. Do we have other things? Yes. But is there a CRM where there's like No, there's not. You could certainly do that. But for me, I've never seen the need to do that. David, if you want to follow up on that, drop it in the chat. Be happy to dig in deeper. Peter, do you give a gift for just a referral? Oh, or must the referral do business with you? Great question. So the gift comes when we get paid, right? A thank you comes as soon as the referral reaches out and schedules some time to have a conversation. Definitely want to thank the referral source, but we don't give a gift or a percentage or a flat payment unless we get the deposit for the website, right? So we're going to get paid and then we'll send a gift. Does that make sense, Peter? All right, Stanislav, what would be an acceptable percentage commission for a referral on a business strategic partner? Great question. I think 10% could be a good rule of thumb or a good place to start, depending on what your price point is, right? And so for example, the situation that I gave of my friend who did local marketing with all the businesses in our little city, we had a flat percentage of 10%. 10% of the cost of the website was what he would get as a referral. And I think that's a good rule of thumb. You may want a higher percent, you may want a lower percent. It just depends on your situation. I think 10 is a good rule of thumb. And Stanislav, if you have a follow-up on that, just drop it in the chat. Peter, do you typically offer to pay a referral to existing clients or ask the referral just because you've done a good job? Great question. So Peter, I have found that incentivizing the referral is the key. It is the key. Perfect example. I have a referral source that is an influencer in the car wash market. It's crazy. We got in this little network of car wash people years ago. So this person, like he makes a ton of money. He doesn't need the money, but he loves it when I send him a $200 Amazon gift card, because he gives it to his wife and his wife gets to buy something on Amazon for $200, right? So it's less about the money as it is just the thank you and the appreciation for the referral. So, you could certainly ask for a referral and give nothing in return. And many of your clients may be happy about that, but I've just found that the goal here with intentional referrals is to do something that makes the need to refer stick in the referrer's mind, right? And a gift just seems to do that. Does that help, Peter? All right. I just saw a question pop up in the chat. Oh, Greg, do you by the way, if you have a question to ask, please use the Zoom Q&A and we'll get to it. Greg's question in the chat is, do you pay a one-time referral for the first engagement or is it ongoing? That is a great question, Peter. Generally, there's nobody that I pay an ongoing referral. I'm thinking there's nobody, I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever done that. Mostly because I don't want to track that stuff. Like I don't want to track all those things. Now, is it a bad idea? Not necessarily. You may find that you have a strategic partner that is so valuable in bringing you referrals that it's a good incentive to them to get a piece of the ongoing action. I've never done that, but it's certainly a possibility. Does that help, Greg? It's really about, what does this referrer want? You know, if you're going to have a strategic partnership and they're super valuable, like if they're bringing you job after job after job, shoot, pay them something monthly, right? It really just depends on what they're bringing you and what they value. Sherry says it sounds a little like affiliate marketing. It kind of is, but with a twist. I mean, it's rewarding the referral certainly has a taste of affiliate marketing in it. Great. Affiliate marketing works. But again, the goal here is we want to incentivize people to send us business, not only because they know that we're going to serve that person well, but also that there's a little bit of sweetness in there for them as well. All right. Any final questions before we wrap up? I'll pause just for a minute. I'm going to drop in the chat today's slide deck. If you would like to download this deck, it is there waiting on you in the chat. And finally, one more time, our bundle of links that have everything, all of our upcoming live streams, the link to view all of our agency success live stream replays, our downloads bucket, as well as our office hours replays. So it looks like we're finished with questions. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for the last hour. Hopefully you picked up a few things that can sharpen your game as you're trying to build referrals into your business. And I would invite everybody to come back every Thursday for office hours. We do a live stream every Thursday at this same time where you can ask anything you want, technical questions, business questions, whatever you want to talk about. And we answer those live here from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'm in Central time, so doing time zone math confuses me sometimes. Oh, there is one question left. I do apologize. I closed that Q&A window. We will wrap up with this. Stanislav, how do you reward current customers that became a referral, with a discount on their current project or putting the extra effort on something else? That's a great question. And again, it can look different ways for you and your clients. It depends on what your clients want. What I've found is that it is less of a reward to a client to discount their project cost than it is to give them something a little extra. Now, that's my personal experience. The principle here is we want to reward the referral. And that can look a lot of different ways to fit with you and your business and your personality and your clients. So, you know, you could give them the option even. But a lot of times it's not even me as a business owner, it's less valuable to me to get a discount because that's a business expense already than it would be for me to get an Amazon gift card where I can just go buy what I want. So, you know, you just have to figure, you know, what's going to be the best way for you to reward your clients in a meaningful way that they will appreciate. All right. And with that, we will end it for today. I'll be back on Thursday at this same time for office hours here on hosting.com's Agency Success, where we go further together.